I was like, someone's trying to break into our house, and I'm yelling at Josh, come down. And then I hear, Jess, it's me. You told me to come at 4 a.m. and I was so embarrassed. I opened the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
And that was day one.
That was day one.
Strong start. Hi, I'm George, co-founder of Bluethumb, and I'm joined by my colleague Amy. Welcome to the Art in My Home podcast.
We uncover the surprising stories from the art collections of unexpected guests.
Today's guest is Jess Dempsey. If you live in the inner southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, you've likely seen her face dotted around the Malvern Central Shopping Centre. If you haven't, her name sounds familiar, it's because she's behind the long-running popular blog What Would Karl Do, and currently is the host of Holistic Living on 7Flix. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
So, Jess, could you tell us about your home, what the decor, theme, interior mood, vibe is like?
Yeah. So actually, I got a message from my friend the other day, and she said, look at this link. And I thought, oh, is this a spam? And then I thought, oh, no, it wouldn't be. So I clicked on it, and it was my house on Pinterest.
Oh. Wow.
So my home has actually gone viral all over Pinterest and, any inspo for homes, which is really... I suppose it's a flattering thing for us. We renovated our beautiful Edwardian home in Stonington in 2020. We moved back in and, it has that really beautiful heritage feel. We engaged Cassandra Walker, an interior designer in Melbourne who was absolutely incredible and really had a good vision for my home because it is so beautifully heritage. She really could make the flow between heritage and contemporary work. We're really proud of it. And, I wonder if you saw the photo, because it was featured in Design Files and a couple of other magazines, if you'd go, oh, yeah, I've seen that that beautiful arch window before. So we have these gorgeous steel arch in the inlay of the actual glass itself, cool. Which was one of the first of its time. So, yeah. Amazing.
And I've seen it on Domain, I think. It was written up there as well.
Yes.
And what happens when it goes viral on Pinterest?
I don't know. I kind of feel like people are pinning it and using it as their own Pinterest
goals.
Inspo home goals, which, it's quite flattering, but that's my home. Yeah,
amazing. And I did have a look, and those kind of massive arches. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah,
they seem expensive.
Yeah,
anything curved always seems expensive.
Yeah, true.
Is this true, or is it not too?
Yeah, it was one of we had to kind of weigh up what we were going to spend on, and spending in that entertainment area was big for us because that's where we spend most of our time, and that's where we will have our guests most of the time. So that wow impact from when the door opens down the hallway, we made sure that we kind of invested in the beautiful floorboards. We have some herringbone floors made by Story, and you look down straight to the arches as soon as you open that door. So that it was kind of those touch points that we spent on and the kitchen, and the rest we kind of, accommodated to make it work for us, which I, don't regret at all. Yeah.
And working with an interior designer, was it kind of your brief and then she came back with a bunch of ideas, or were you like, look, we've got this Edwardian, what do you think?
Yeah.
Start there first and then you kind of filter it. How did it work?
Yeah, so we lived in the home for about 10 years. So we knew what we wanted to work for us as a family of 5. Before that, we would share one bathroom and the kids were crammed up together because it was that old original style of home. And I really wanted those key elements of, the beautiful cornices and those heritage pieces that you just can't replicate. We had a lot of arches in our home, original arches and fireplaces that I said to Cassandra, I'd love to keep what we can original, but then that flow that she then came in and added to contemporary, because it is such a big change, you know, big stone and, beautiful cabinetry and things like that. I think she could kind of feel what the home needed from everything that I've given her, all our brief as a family and as, you know, wanting to hold on to that originality of the home. And I trusted her. So that was the key. Trusting someone with your home is a big deal, because if you believe that they can see your vision, that's a tick right there. And I did trust her. And honestly, as much as I love home, I am a fashion girl. I'm, you know, with my fashion background, I feel like they're two different things.
Okay.
I struggle with colour and choosing colour, and this was something that I trusted her to kind of take over and go, no, this is how it's going to work. And then when she puts it all together, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I can do that with an outfit, but not so much in my home space. Yeah.
And how are you finding, like, pops of colour in your house? Do you get sick of them?
So, funny you say that. My home is very neutral.
Yeah.
Because we have 3 boys, we found that the less we have in the home, the cleaner it stays, right? So it's, so
Kind of a golden rule, right?
it is. So we're kind of letting the art or the rugs or the cushions speak in colour. The rest is all very neutral. So we have a really beautiful grey tone when it comes to the marble and that textural, the wood colour coming through, and then the steel doors. That's it. We have beautiful white walls, and it's quite neutral and minimal. But yes, I feel like I have taken away the pink cushions every now and then, because I'm like, I just feel like I'm feeling it's just too much. However, my art pieces, they kind of pull it all together and they're kind of cemented in the spaces. And I feel like that is enough in my home. Yeah.
And speaking of your art pieces, you've got quite a collection of David Bromley's that you sent through for us to have a look at.
Yeah.
Where did you kind of start on your journey of collecting with him?
Yeah, it's an interesting journey, because it kind of was unexpected. I've always loved art. I've got that creative brain. I've always had that creative brain and loved art as a child and onwards. But I never, as an adult, and as, I got married and things like that, I kind of didn't know what I liked in terms of art until we went looking, inspecting homes, and this home had a Bromley. It had, which I actually ended up getting, it's called the Hillary, this beautiful nude with the blue. And when I saw that piece in the home, I didn't like the home, I liked the art piece. Yeah. And so I said, I really just want a Bromley. I don't care, I don't care about the homes yet. I can't, if we can't find a home yet, wherever, whatever. And on my 30th birthday, I saved up a lot of money and did my research, and I bought myself a Bromley, and it was that piece, the Hillary piece. And we were living in a rental at the time, and I had this big, beautiful art piece in this rental, just sitting there, just didn't work with anything. But I just knew that one day when we did find our home, it would be the centrepiece of our living room, and now it is. And then since then, I just had a connection, I suppose, with the subjects that David Bromley works with. That Hillary piece reminds me of a time when it was me as a new mum adjusting to the changes and my body changes and kind of empowering myself. And I felt that through that art piece. And then I got to meet David, and I actually became friends with him and his wife. And when I went to look for some more pieces for this new home that we'd renovated, I really was drawn to the children in the pieces, because, again, that connection of me being a mum, and I could see the storytelling in those pieces of the children playing that connected me to them.
Yeah, please,
So
yeah.
which was your favourite artwork of David's that you've collected?
Yeah, so I have a bunch, but it was unexpectedly when I went to his gallery, I saw two small pieces. They're oval size, and it's in each oval is a boy. One boy with brown hair and a little bit of a curl, and he's got this little hat on, and he's playing, I don't know, pirate ships or something, and this other boy with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he's playing as well, as all dressed up. Those two boys look exactly like my two boys. And it was just uncanny, and I said to David, did you see my children and then draw them? Because these two pieces are my children. So they're my favourite that I have. Yeah.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
A lovely
Love
coincidence.
that.
Yeah.
And your third boy misses out.
Well, no, this is where it gets crazy. So my third boy, he has very curly hair. And then at that time when I'd had him and we were moving into the home, I saw this piece of, again, a child, a boy, with curly hair and brown eyes riding this little horse, and it looked exactly like my third child. So it's just crazy. So I definitely have a deep connection to these pieces because I can see my story in them.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's sort of that feels like family connection to the art, which is like, I don't know. I can see how you'd want that in your house, and you kind of help create the mood you want. What other pieces? You've got six Bromleys, which is like you're a real collector, I guess. Yeah. What other artworks in there do you sort of love or connect with?
So I'm running out of space in my home.
That's a common comment. Actually.
I do have one piece in my study, and it's a Shane Bowden piece with Karl Lagerfeld. And in my study, it's my office, and I spend a lot of time in there. And as you mentioned, my blog, What Would Karl Do? I started in 2010. So all began with Karl Lagerfeld, and that was a gift from my mother-in-law 1 year. And so I put it above the mantelpiece in the study, and it's quite different to a Bromley. It's Karl Lagerfeld, and it's spray painted with fluoro pink, and it's very poppy. But again, kind of brings me back to that connection of how I started this kind of, fashion journey as, a fashion blogger in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's nice when your artworks have like a really good meaning to
They
yourself.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think, I don't know if it's because I'm a Cancerian or it's, very sentimental, but things are very, if they're in my home, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Do you have a system or how you approach putting art in your house?
Yeah, I feel like for me it's more falling in love with a piece and then finding the space for it rather than looking at a wall and saying, I need something there.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we are happy to have a pretty minimal home, and that includes minimal walls. But finding something that resonates with me, I'll find the space for it. So it's more the art and then finding the space instead of saying this wall needs something.
Yeah.
Let me find something for it.
Yeah. Interesting. Because people approach it in both ways. I know I do.
Yeah. I think, and that also kind of, if you approach it the other way, it's like, I've got to fill this wall. You're probably not connecting with the art like you are.
Yeah.
Instead of it's more just like, let's fill this wall.
I literally
rather than
have to fill a wall at the moment.
have some more meaning, George.
Look, I also got like 500 favourites in my...
Yes. You live and breathe it.
Yeah.
Do you have do you think you're attracted to a particular style? Do you have a type of art that really resonates more, or it's literally just whatever connects and all types?
Yeah, I really feel that it's more for me if I see it and I love it, rather than I only like landscapes or abstract. For me, it's more finding that connection and even discovering pieces along the way, or there's something for me that I would love would be a sculpture in my home. I couldn't name, the artist that I'd want, although I did get a message from a interior designer friend that I have, Zoe Murphy, and she said that I needed a Troy Emery piece.
Yes.
Do you know the ones where it's like the dog and it has this fringe over it?
Yep, we're familiar with those. Someone else on the pod mentioned them, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So she has one, and her previous home was incredible, and she said, "Oh, you need one of these pieces." And I thought my kids would love that. And it would be that, again, that colour pop in a space. It would be a talking point. And that's something that perhaps I would have my eye on going forward. Again, it's not about filling the wall space. It's something filling different space in my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had to kind of battle test your home with 3 boys for art and, and furniture and everything else?
Yep, and footy balls. And So we're actually going through that at the moment. My eldest son, he's nearly 13, and he is not into sport at all. So I suppose I've had a pretty good run with not having balls getting thrown around the home. Now my middle son and my youngest son, they're starting to kick the ball inside, especially because it's getting cold, and bouncing basketballs. And now I'm starting to kind of cringe up a little and like tense up when I see the ball going here, there, everywhere next to the big Hillary piece. Yes and no. So I suppose now I could probably answer the question to you next year and say, oh, well, this is what happened and this ball went through this. And however, upstairs where the boys' space is, I do... in the communal area, I do have that big, beautiful piece where it's the boy and the horse and the 2 oval pieces of the boys, but definitely not in their rooms. It's an interesting thing. And again, everything else is minimal in my home for that reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine when they move out, you'll be like, go to town on
Well,
everything.
I will have new rugs and I'll have a lot more on display.
Sculptures in every
New
corner.
couch, new rugs,
Definitely.
glass sculpture.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got very tiny kids, and it's drawing on the walls that we're worried about. But,
Yep.
Cool. So you mentioned Troy Emery. Are there any other artists that are sort of you would on your radar that you might want to buy or collect?
Yeah, I've been following Craig Waddle for a long time. He's got really beautiful, dramatic, like florals and really textured pieces, which I have loved seeing on his Instagram for years, and that would be a really beautiful piece that I'd love in my bedroom. So yeah, I have my eye on a few through Instagram, and actually I have to say that coming from that fashion world, blogger days before Instagram, you have to network and build a community with the fashion world. The art world has been so beautiful and welcoming, and I feel that just following artists on Instagram is really enjoyable because you really see them, you see their vulnerability, and you see, just the passion. And so, someone like Craig, or even a girl I met through Instagram, Tegan Lloyd, it's a local artist. I just get lost in seeing them paint, and some of the way that, some of the pieces that they create, I could never do. I'm not an abstract mind. I can't paint abstract, and I just kind of get lost in seeing the way that they create.
I think it's nice, like Instagram with connecting with artists in particular. It kind of, I think if they're with a gallery, it kind of removes that gallery element, and you can always like message them or like comment with them, and you see a lot more behind the scenes than you wouldn't see by going direct into a gallery to see their work instead. And I think that's really nice to see their processes as well, like how they started, especially for yourself when you're, starting to do painting and things like that, how they started to, like, how they finish the artwork is a really interesting process.
Do you like the in the studio work in progress stuff from artists on Instagram?
I do.
Yeah,
I love seeing from blank canvas to concept, because for me, I've started painting, coming up with a concept and committing to it, and trusting my gut is a big deal, and I love seeing other people just go for it. I have been my algorithm is all artists at the moment, and it's great. Yeah,
Explore page is all.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I used to think I liked the work in progress. I actually think I just like the finished.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw the most fascinating one, literally an artist doing her in progress, is what colour she primed her canvases with. Like, you think it's all white.
Yeah.
But it's like fluoro. She was doing fluoro pink, orange, brown, and I was like, no kidding. And then they build on top of that. So, I thought that was really interesting. You wouldn't think it, George, but it is, yeah.
So they prime it with
just the background colour, it was like hot pink.
Sure.
And then they paint on top of it because it gives more depth to the colours on top.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, I take back my comment.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. You need to watch more work in progress.
Really not watching enough.
Well, should we get into about how you began, Jess? So, how your fashion career began. You originally started in visual merchandising.
Yep.
One of the world's biggest designer brands. Could you tell us about it?
Oh, yeah. So I studied visual merchandising at RMIT after high school. Like I said before, I'm very much a creative brain, not so much academic, and this was the perfect course for me. Visual merchandising, which included obviously window dressing, but also styling and photography, and it kind of was just meant to be for me. And I worked as the visual merchandiser for Hugo Boss, so I oversaw, the stores in Sydney and Melbourne, and would be based in their head office, and that was great, but, I always kind of have that feeling, what's next? So then I studied styling, which obviously it does come naturally, but I did a little bit more education on styling, and which is really, really strange because I feel like I've done so much, but I did an acting course. And I met a girl who ended up being on Neighbours. And so when I was styling, I messaged her and I said, her name's Geordie Lucas, a gorgeous girl. She's got her own podcast as well now at the moment. I said, can I dress you for the Logies? And she's like, yeah, cool. So I dressed her for a couple of years, and then some other Neighbours talent as well. So I was essentially celebrity styling. And then from there, again, what's next? I went overseas. I went to London, Paris, Milan with my sister-in-law. And when I was in Paris, I was just in awe. Obviously the fashion history. I was standing outside the 31 Rue Cambon, which is the original Chanel store. And upstairs in that building was, Karl Lagerfeld working away. And I bought some beautiful things from Zara and Topshop and all those shops that you couldn't get here at the time, back in 2009. And I'm like, I need to show someone. I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to call it What Would Karl Do? And so that's kind of how the blog started. I started styling myself. So everything kind of ties in for my career. So I started styling myself and then sharing that and blogging about that. And from there, my international audience just grew, skyrocketed. Here, people weren't really understanding what a blog was. So the audience wasn't quite here. It was mainly Spain, America, London, France. And slowly, eventually, this is before Instagram, so you can imagine how hard it would have been to me to get my name out there here. And then slowly, one time, I think ASOS saw how many sales I was making them back in this is 2010. And then they contacted me and said, hey, can we do an article on you in our magazine? There was an ASOS magazine at the time.
Yeah.
And it was called Who's That Girl? And I think that's when Australia kind of caught on. And then, my blogging career took off, and I did some amazing things in the Melbourne fashion industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like absolute OG.
Yeah.
ASOS back in the day, straight at the start of ASOS.
That's right. Yes, I even remember going to the launch of the Iconic, and there was only about 20 of us there.
Yeah.
Because there weren't many bloggers.
No. And a new fashion platform back in the day, it's like a bit sus.
Yeah. Well, I remember is this Australia's ASOS?
Like what is this?
Yeah.
When was that? What, 2010?
11? About 11. That was
Cool.
during Fashion Week in Sydney. I was there for that. And, it's just actually crazy thinking about all the things just by taking a chance, really. When I said to my husband, right, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start a blog and you just have to trust me. And he was just like, what are you talking about?
What are you doing?
And I think I would have been one of the first Aussie fashion bloggers to be paid, like a paid influencer.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to a fashion week runway for GHD or someone, and I had to go home and blog about the runways. And then they said, okay, send us your invoice. And I said, invoice? What do I charge? I said $50 or something. And they said, maybe go revise that. That was my first paid job.
Wow.
Fantastic. That's that meme. Like, you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa, you're paying me to blog?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's clearly you sort of, can take chances, and it's actually a really common theme amongst all of our guests is sort of taking a deep dive into something that may not turn out.
Yeah.
But it clearly has for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that, following artists in the art scene is just really welcoming.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like maybe fashion wasn't as much. It's clearly hard to crack into.
Yes. I think it's more competitive. Yeah. Because I think it's kind of a tricky question because as an OG fashion blogger who, I'd have to work all day getting the content up and taking beautiful photography and creating these photo shoots, and it was such a full-time job. And then when Instagram came, then it was like, now all these other people are getting jobs that I have worked hard to kind of get in the door with. So that was a tricky part for me. So I suppose it did get a little competitive when Instagram came, and little things like I suppose it's not. I'm very welcoming, and I'm very that's we're all here. It's an industry. If we're not all there, then it wouldn't be an industry kind of thing. But it was a bit competitive because the jobs were less, or brands were working with newer Instagrammers or things like that. I'm very lucky. I've always had that authenticity that I kind of project, and that OG, that trust that brands and my followers love. So I suppose for me it wasn't that big of a deal, but I suppose, when I was learning of where to get canvases from when I'm painting, and I can just message another artist like, hey, just wondering, do you recommend any places to get canvases better than others, blah, blah, blah. And straight away, yeah, sure, hun, blah, 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 here's a list. Whereas if you say to someone in the fashion industry back in the day, when Instagram came, do you have the PR contact for this brand? Well, no, I'm not going to give it to you because then you'll take my job. So that was a kind of difference with that, seeing how warm the art community is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that's nice. I'm glad we're in art then.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk more about, you mentioned your art practice and we already talked before we started about your latest piece, which is Still Life Cacti, I think.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a bit about the art you're making at the moment?
Yeah. So I kind of jumped back a little.
Yeah.
I bought some canvas and paints a couple of years ago, and I just left them in a room at home, thinking one day I'll pick them up and start painting again. Obviously, through high school, I excelled at art, which was great. But then, being a teenager and then in your 20s and then getting married and then having children, who has time for that when you're working on your career? For me, I didn't have time. And then we had a terrible summer this year. It was cold. And so I had these kids inside during the school holidays, and I thought, I'm going to paint. I'm going to get myself ready, get all my materials, and I'm going to paint Taylor Swift. I don't know why. I'm not a Swiftie. But I think there was a bit of a hype, and I thought, I'm going to see if I can paint her.
Yeah.
And so I started painting, and I got obsessed, and I didn't want to go to bed because I wanted to keep painting, and it turned out perfect. And then I thought, oh, I'm kind of good at this. I'm going to do Harry Styles. Right? So I start painting Harry Styles. I'm like, this is actually really good. And it's kind of like, they say riding a bike, you never forget. Painting, I feel like you never forget. And I shared it on my Instagram, and people were like, wow, can't believe you did that. That's great. You're so good. You're so talented, blah, blah, blah. Which was, really great for me to hear, because I always question myself, So then from there, I sold a couple of prints, which was really cool, especially during the Eras tour.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah. And so then that kind of motivated me. And, of course, that's when I jumped into that community of chatting to other local artists who were really beautiful. And then I'd go get my piece photographed and then printed, with the recommendations from these gorgeous artists, which was so lovely. And then when I was searching for inspiration for something else, I really connect with places that make me really happy. So I ended up painting a really cool amaretto sour cocktail from my favourite place in Noosa at Ricky's restaurant, and I painted that, and it made me feel good, and I didn't want to stop painting it. And now it's a bit of artwork in my home, actually. I have it placed next to my TV.
Fantastic.
And now I'm working on some cactuses. So my grandparents, they're Maltese, and they have a big property in the western suburbs, and it's lined with cacti right around it. There's so many, and at Easter we eat the fruit. So it's prickly pear, it's called, and it is prickly. So my nunnu has to peel it, and he has it all ready for us on Easter. And on Easter I went and took photos of all the cacti plants that I loved, and I came home and I painted them. And now this one piece that I did got shortlisted for the Omnia Art Prize in Melbourne, which is great. So it's going to be exhibitioned and sold. And so now I'm working on some smaller pieces with the same subject, just to add to that collection. Yeah.
That's nice. It sounds like you really connect with kind of the place and the family there, and so...
That's right. It has meaning to me.
Oh. Awesome.
That's fantastic. I love that art prize.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's good.
Very good.
Yeah, and beautiful local artists.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, I'm always thinking ahead. So, like, what am I going to paint next? I don't know. I actually booked a trip to Europe with my best friend coming up soon. Again, escaping to get inspiration like I did back in the day, back in 2009 when I went overseas and then I came back instead of starting a blog. I kind of feel like I'm looking for that inspiration. What am I going to paint next? What inspires me? What's next in my career? I'm heading overseas and hoping to collect some connections and inspo.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Where are you going?
I'm going to London
Yeah.
and Sicily.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
We need to talk about your transition from blogging and I guess your socials to TV and how that came about and being the host of Holistic Living on 7 Flicks.
Yes. So I feel like my career is very much a journey, from visual merchandiser to stylist to blogger, Instagrammer, and doing a little bit of filming for my Instagram over the years. I created this series on my Instagram called What's in Store. And so essentially, especially during the COVID years when I could see retail and retailers kind of struggling, I'd pop into the stores and film, what's in the stores, how to style it, and then bring it to the audience. So then they can kind of go, oh, I like that. I saw that. I'm going to go and get that. Just, I suppose that was a connection between me and retail and me as a blogger, but also talking to camera. And again, with that touch back to me doing the acting course, like I've always loved camera work. And it's just, I suppose the more that I did presenting work or hosting events and hosting, things for brands that were to camera, I had my manager kind of have me on the radar for any opportunities in presenting and hosting work. And she did secure this TV show for me, which was really good. It was kind of groundbreaking for me, to be able to want something. I knew I always wanted to be on TV. I always wanted to be on Neighbours, but I always wanted to be on TV in some way, and this was made possible. I got to meet the producer and, we had a connection and really kind of resonated with the role, and we filmed last year and it went on air last year. And, it was kind of like definitely a goal, a life goal for me.
Yeah.
To host,
Did you guys pitch it, or they had the show and they're looking for the host?
Yeah, they had the show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I feel like it's such a, it's such a mishmash of all these things that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I read that it was like a 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. kind of
call times.
Call or something.
Yeah.
How do you do that with 3 kids?
Yeah, it's luckily my husband can just like get them into shape, go, right, up we go, let's go.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all the time. So, we'd be filming, once a week or, a couple of times a month to get the show going. That first morning call, I had a makeup artist come to my home and I was in bed and I heard, so my alarm obviously didn't set and I heard boom, 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 boom on the door.
No.
And I woke up and my husband was actually sleeping in my son's bed upstairs. And I was like, someone's trying to break into our house, and I'm yelling out, Josh, come down. And then I'm like trying to like hold the door, and I must have been so asleep that I didn't know what was happening. And then I hear, Jess, it's me. You told me to come at 4 a.m. and I was so embarrassed. I opened the door, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Who gets up at 4 o'clock?
It's the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Could she do your makeup while you were like lying down?
I know. I wish.
20 minutes more.
Just
And that was day one.
That was day one.
strong start.
So it's a running joke now. We sometimes laugh about that. So I'm holding the door because I thought someone was trying to break in the door.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And wow, what a good makeup
Not the
artist.
most holistic start.
I was quite stressed.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And so, you clearly would like to do more on camera in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I'm at that turning point. Sorry, I'm going to have a supporter.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Did I bring it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I designed this.
No way.
So we did a collaboration with a sustainable brand called The Good Brand, and we designed bag. Oh, this bag. And some other bags. And
That bag, you could go camping for a week.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. I like the pockets.
cool.
It's good. It's like I go grocery shopping with it.
So you helped design the sort of pop on the drink
like
bottle?
the colours.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay, sorry.
Gosh, what don't you do,
Yeah,
Jess?
you've done a lot of interesting stuff. Yeah.
Where were we
Well,
at?
look, no, more on camera.
Oh, yeah.
In the future. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd definitely love to do more to camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of feel like I am searching for, what's next as that, mum, the kids are growing up now and, like what's next? Is it, TV work or is it me focusing on my art and making more time to paint?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're already in one prize. Like, it's a
Yeah.
pretty good start for coming back to it.
Yeah.
And actually, on us, a lot of our like very successful artists often sort of had a separate career and came back to their art at some point as well. It's
Yeah.
actually a common story.
I think painting TV show.
yeah.
I think that just
show,
painting
yes.
TV show just makes sense.
Yes.
Makes sense.
That
yeah.
sounds really good, actually.
As long as we can be on it.
Yeah. Done deal.
The other one we want to talk about is how did you come about being the face of Malvern Shopping Centre?
Yeah, so Malvern Central is my local shopping centre that I am seen to be in every day getting my groceries because it's just so convenient and of course they have a really good fashion fashion destination. They've got David Jones, they've got Seed and Decuba and all the kind of the key brands that you want. And no, we just kind of approached them and said, would love to work with you, and Jess is here all the time anyway with her kids.
I already spruik you anyway.
Yeah, it was just a perfect fit.
How's it seeing your face up there when you go in though? Like, oh, hello.
Yeah, my kids find it hilarious seeing my face slice open at the elevator. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
Fantastic. So, we've already talked about, you're doing art at the moment. I'm very jealous you're about to go to Europe.
Yep.
Anything else cooking for 2024? Anything else in the pipeline?
I think I'll tell you that after I'm back from Europe, because I kind of feel like that I am looking for something more. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is cementing myself in art, TV, or maybe even a brand.
Yeah, sure.
I collaborate with a lot of brands. I've designed bags and clothes, but maybe I need to look at something for myself. So we will see.
Interesting.
Watch your space.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we'll wrap it up there, I think.
Thanks for coming, Jess. Fascinating.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you.
Sounds like really good things on the horizon for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I've loved the gallery downstairs.
Oh, good. Well, you
artist.
could be in.
Next time.
Yes.